Life it has been good to me this time around. Things were bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact, and I can find no rest. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to go two ways. Time it cannot know the bounds, and there are don't dictate.
Well, very good afternoon to you, and welcome to Xandermonium, the talk show that gets you talking. I'm your host, Xander Gibb, and we will be joined momentarily by Tyhe. Egar, I think, is having some login issues. On today's show, we're going to be looking at some of this week's more interesting news stories. That's Tyhe and myself. The bitch is back. And we will be having, in part two, Jeff Kristian, author, TV presenter, jack of all trades, master of many, will be joining us to tell us about his new movie. More to come in a mere moment. So you can interact with us during the show in the chat room at the bottom of the show page. Keep scrolling down. You can also call us. Yes, we have all the modcons here. You can call us on 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. Now we've got our own number then. On Twitter, you can tweet us. My Twitter handle is at XanderGibb, XanderGibb. And Tyhe's Twitter handle is at Tyhe Egar, TYHEPAULEGAR, capital T, capital P, capital E. You can also tweet Jeff. Jeff's Twitter handle is at Jeff Kristian, JEFFKRISTIAN. Don't forget the all-important @ symbol. I see the bitch is back. I'll just bring her on. Welcome back to the show, Tyhe. How you doing?
Hello. I'm very well.
Hello.
I'm here. I'm fine. How are you?
You have some. I'm wonderful. It's cold here today. I wish it was a little bit warmer, and I want the summer to last a bit longer. But alas, I think it is now fall, as they call it here. What is it they call it in England? They call it autumn.
No, we just call it day.
You just call it
we
what?
We just call it Saturday. It's Saturday.
Oh, right. No, I'm not talking about the day, dear. I'm talking about the freaking. Anyway, never mind. So there's still some time to vote in our poll this week. Just let me announce the poll, and then we can launch into whatever.
Well,
this week says, what does it say? What do you feel the answer is regarding gun control? And there are several possible answers. Ban all guns, ban automatic guns, or stricter background checks. Go to xandergibb.com and you can vote there, and we will definitely be announcing the results before the end of the show. Sorry, what were you saying, Tyhe? What were you sharing with us?
No, I was just being sarcastic. I mean, in the UK, if it's sunny, we call it special. It's kind of. For
sure. Yeah, I remember when I lived there. The winters were pretty harsh. I mean, but you haven't had a winter until you've had an East Coast winter in America, because they are particularly bad. And I think it's a toss-up whether it's as bad in the UK or here. But I guess if you've not spent one in the two, you can't really kind of judge. Just want to give out the phone number, 347-884-9061, if you want to call in about any of the subjects that we're discussing, or you want to get anything off your chest. There will be a chance in part two during the segment with Jeff Kristian to win a copy of his book. We have a few to give away. Again, on the same number, 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. The question is, which TV show was Jeff Kristian the host of? And here's a little clue. It wasn't Little Sister. We won't be taking your calls for the answer to that to win the book until that segment. So call us when Jeff is on, and we announce the competition, and we will endeavor to get you winning. So, Tyhe, tell people where you've been. There's no truth in the rumor that you've been in Holloway Women's Prison for 3 months. Tell people what you've been doing while you've been on your sabbatical away from the show.
I have been training. I'm sorry, I want to now be in Holloway. Anyway, I have been training to be a personal trainer, or to become a personal trainer. And for those of you who think, why did that take so long? I challenge you to go and train to become a personal trainer, because I've been training with one of the best companies around, basically one of the best, some of the best people around. And it has been possibly one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my adult life. And it's taken, which is why it's taken, several months rather than 10 minutes. And so I sit here now in the studio, exhausted. But I'm back with you this evening with no excuse now, other than to be exhausted, really. But I have no excuse now. I can't eat chocolate anymore. I can only eat protein and very few carbs. But there you have it.
Well, isn't there any protein in chocolate, Tyhe? There's got to be some.
Yeah, not much though. There's no excuse, Xander. We've had it, and I can't give you any excuses now. There are no free passes now, boys and girls. I'm a professional trainer. You've had it.
Absolutely, and it's hard, isn't it? It's difficult because I do like healthy food, but a lot of the stuff that I crave, I love fast food. I'd be a liar if I said I didn't. And some places are a little bit more healthy than others, but they're all pretty crap. They all have crap in them. And I didn't mention any names there because obviously we don't want to be sued. But do you like healthy food, Tyhe, or do you find you're a pizza and fish and chips man?
Well, don't we all love the above? I used to be. Well, I'm a comfort eater. Do you know what I mean? Like so many other people, mouthfeel, isn't it? You love that taste of things that aren't good for you. Carbs. We all crave carbs, but there's a reason for that. But I do like healthy food as well, yeah, because there's definitely, you do get a good high out of good food. A healthy protein food, you can enjoy that just as much. I think it's how we prepare food, because the thing we do, isn't it, when it's healthy, we go, okay, I don't want to eat this, and we convince ourselves we don't, so we just kind of slop it onto a plate because we don't want to eat, and then you look at it and go, and think, that's horrible, isn't it? But you've made it that way, so you deliberately try and put yourself off it. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that's our excuse then for not enjoying it, and there's no excuse really. It's just because we want to go and eat the carb.
Absolutely, and I'm. Here's the thing. I try and be good all week, and I'm still losing weight, and I probably lost about 35, 36 pounds in the time. I don't know what that was beeping. In the time that I've been trying to get fitter and healthier, but. Last weekend there's a fish and chip place not far from where I live, and I did treat myself to fish and chips. But it's a myth, isn't it, Tyhe, that you shouldn't treat yourself at all?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, treat yourself, of course, because you should enjoy what you do, and also give your body a bit of a challenge as well. There are your pancreas needs something to do. So enjoy what you do and give yourself those little treats, because if it starts to become a chore, then obviously you're going to fall apart, When everything becomes, when everything you do, you should enjoy going to the gym. Because all this, people say, I hate going to the gym, I hate exercising. If you do, you're doing something wrong, right? Find a different way of exercising. Find something you enjoy. There are so many different variations.
Who is this gym? I want to know. Anyway, let's move on to some hot topics. I do like the gym. I'm really kind of getting into it, and it's not because of all the hot, sweaty young men in there. It's because I know it's doing me some good. So talking of hot, sweaty young men, while Justin Bieber's images have been leaked in flagrante, full pain, he has also been rolling out the cover for his new album. and methinks that there is method in this young man's madness right now. So the Biebs on holiday with a brown-skinned beauty walked around sans shorts or any covering on Little Bieber Jr., which set the internet ablaze this week. Now his dad, Jeremy Bieber, creepy as creepy could be, commenting on how proud he is of his boy's manhood all over Twitter in response to the nude pictures of Justin that leaked this week. So Biebs Sr. tweeting his son was asking, Justin, what are you feeding that thing? And ended with the hashtag Proud Daddy. Creepy to say the least, to think that your dad has not only been looking at pictures of your wiener, but also tweeting about it too. Now I know that Biebs is a particular favorite of ours to bash. What's your first response to all of this, Ty? And do you agree with me that it's kind of creepy for your dad to be talking about your wiener?
Well, firstly, I mean, did you see I don't know whether anybody saw my first post on Facebook, but my first reaction was, well, we all know he is a dick, so it's not surprising that we should find he has one. So my second one, as far as his father doing anything, is it really surprising? Didn't his father help him drive down the street under the influence of alcohol or drugs, allegedly, when they supposedly sealed off the road so he could do that? So his father doing anything doesn't really surprise me. I think if the stories are true that we have read and heard about, obviously we are saying allegedly on the show for a change. I am not diving right in.
Yeah.
But if even half of what we've read and heard is true, then nothing surprises me about his father. He's a freaky man anyway, isn't he? To be, But then as far as these photos being leaked, there's no way that boy didn't know when he walked onto that balcony naked that somebody was going to be taking photos. So I'm not buying any of it. And as far as people, saying, oh, look at the size of him, whatever, it was a warm day, and if he knew he didn't have a lot to show off, he would not have walked out there. So, and he's
sure.
Who cares, really, at the end of the day? It's a little bit creepy that, I just think he's just a little bit creepy, full stop. The boy is becoming strange, or stranger. And when I saw the photos on Facebook, I kind of thought, oh, I don't want to see, as opposed to going, oh, let's have a look, Johnny.
I kind of think that a lot of people, when they do these things for effect, because clearly this has not been accidentally designed to coincide with his album release. But surely, if I know we're talking about it, but that's our job. We're chat show hosts. We've got to talk about the ridiculous stuff that people do. But the reaction on social media to Justin Bieber with his winky out. I mean, without wanting to be rude, once you've seen one, haven't you seen them all? And really, are we really that? We obviously, he was a boy. I mean, I know he looks like a 25-year-old lesbian, but let's be sure. We always knew he was a boy, and now it's been confirmed. Big whoop-de-doo. Let's have a Justin Bieber wiener party. I mean, please.
Well, do you know what? I think this is in response to, because isn't it not long ago, he made the mistake of running out of a very cold river in white underwear. And as you and I know, as men, it doesn't matter how well, and even Colton, darling, if you're listening, I mean, it doesn't matter how well endowed you are as a man. When it gets cold, everything retracts. It wants to disappear. It wants to get warm. So he ran out of that water, and clearly it looked like he didn't have much of anything. So I think this is maybe a response to, no, look, I do have a penis, yay. And I'm sure his fans do. Some men are showers, some men are growers, some men are both. But at the end of the day, oh God, you either like somebody's music or you don't. And as you said, and as we pointed out before, I'm not exactly a Bieber fan, so I don't really care. I don't really care. Good for you, Justin. You have a penis. As far as I'm concerned, you are a dick. So
I'm sorry. It really reminded me of that Seinfeld episode, where George got walked in on after being in the pool, and he was saying to Elaine, Do women not know about shrinkage? And she said, what, you mean like with laundry? So it's not like this kind of thing hasn't been, kind of covered before. So I kind of want him to keep it covered, really. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot out there that have enjoyed looking at Bieber peen, for want of a better phraseology, but I have to kind of go back, if I had a son that was his age, whether they were successful or not, I would not want to celebrate the fact that people have been taking pictures of him without his clothes on. And I think you've got to kind of question the parenting here, because let's face it, before he was famous, he lived with his mom, and clearly the guidance has not been that wonderful, because they've let him get away with so much. Because as old as I am, 35, shut your face, Tyhe, before you say anything, my mother would slap my face if I was out there showing my peen to all and sundry,
Yeah. Well, as you say, frankly, I'm not going to include you in this. Obviously, you can speak for yourself. But I've been questioning his parenting for quite a while, particularly on his father's side. So that's not going to change now. I think he's been in trouble for quite a long time. But now I think this is kind of apathy from his point as well as everybody else's point of view. But I just don't see. I'm kind of out of things to say about him. I mean, genuinely. Well,
right.
that's not true. I'm not out of things to say about him at all. But I'm kind of now. The idea that he or anybody else is shocked that when he walked onto that balcony, somebody was close with a camera, is ridiculous. And if anybody's trying to say that, oh my, shock horror, somebody was there with a camera. This boy can't pee without somebody being around with a camera. And it wouldn't surprise me anyway if his dad said, look, he's in room 12A.
You and I both know that
the camera
management companies call the press and alert them to something. It's no coincidence that he's got an album coming out, and I never even thought of it from that aspect. But obviously people have said Bieber has a tiny peen, and after those shots of him in his underwear and his tidy whities, so he's obviously got something to prove. I mean, if somebody wrote an article and said, no, let's not go there. Let's not go there today.
No.
I have nothing to prove, so therefore what I'm saying is that I wouldn't have to take off my clothes to show off my body to prove anything one way or another. But let's face it, Tyhe, here's the thing. We can actually sing, so we don't need the gimmicks, do we?
Well, no, but
I
know, but according to Will.i.am, he's an incredibly talented musician, but unfortunately, that's going to get lost, isn't it, in the middle of all this nonsense? First it's talking about the drugs, now then it's talking about the behaviour, now it's talking about the nudity, and at the end of the day, he's releasing a new album. Well, whoop-de-doo, and it takes away from that. So make your mind up, Justin. You either want to be taken seriously as a musician, or you want to be taken seriously as an arsehole. You can't have both anymore, because people just simply won't tolerate that anymore. Long gone are the 70s, thank God, and the 80s. When it was trendy to be both, I think that people fade away very quickly now when they try and behave that way, and that's a good thing, because young people don't need that. Young people are in enough pain; they don't need to be dragged into yours, because it's nonsense. So make your mind up what you want to be. Do you want to be a musician? Do you want to be an idiot?
Well, I think clearly he does want to be both, and for me that is part of the problem. I don't think that anyone in his position his age would be, kind of like pure as the driven snow, as it were. But I would hope that he will get to a point where he starts to kind of like behave a little bit better, for want of a better phrase.
Well, I think he's run out of excuses now. He's no longer a teenager. Do you know what I mean? I know he's still a young 20, but no, stop it. Do you know what I mean? There are people at his age now who have families. It's time really to stand up and grow up. So you
kind of have to add, Tyhe, we don't hate the kid, do we? In fact, a lot of the stuff that we talked about, a lot of the subjects we've talked about with reference to Justin Bieber are because we've been concerned for him, to be honest.
I have been, for quite a long time, but now I'm getting a bit bored with it now. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't think it's something I'm concerned about anymore. But yes, I was originally.
Right.
Now I just think, no, you're an idiot.
Yes, exactly.
So, do you know what I mean?
And the worry is, why is he paying management? Why are management getting a cut of his fee? You know, I was worried for a long time we were going to see in the headlines that he was found dead in some sleazy hotel or other. But, you know, is this a real Justin? Are these things just publicity stunts? I really don't know. Let us know what you think. 347-884-9061 to comment on this or any other subject you wish to discuss with us. That was our Bieber quotes of the week. I'm kind of his dad still concerns me though. I have to say that it's really freaking creepy.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, what do you do about that?
I don't know. Yeah, you can't pick your you don't get to pick your family. Sadly, I mean we both know that you don't get to pick your family. Apologies to all the relatives of mine out there that I do actually like. But you know, you definitely don't get to pick your family, and that's a concern. But I don't doubt that he's kind of helped his dad financially. But surely his dad should be saying, "Come on, son, you know, if you're going to be a singer, be a singer. Sell your songs, but don't get your don't be doing things like that for publicity just to sell your music. Because what does that say about the music? Can you just rely on the music?
Absolutely. It's just
absolutely.
Yeah, it's just a bit tragic, isn't it?
It is kind of very tragic as far as I'm concerned, and I just think, you know, what's next really? What is next with this guy? So let's move on to our next topic. Police officer William, a.k.a. Billy O'Donnell, said that as he and one of his colleagues were walking out of a Dunkin' Donuts, and they noticed that a worker had written Black Lives Matter on the side of his coworker's cup. Now, he promptly took a picture of the message and posted it on social media with an account of what had actually happened. He put, "So my coworker just went to get a coffee at Dunkin' Donuts on Atwells Avenue in Providence, and the worker was immediately rude and didn't appear to want to serve him in uniform. Upon leaving, he noticed what she wrote on his cup, and it said, 'Black Lives Matter. Would you drink it?' My suggestion, absolutely not. Don't go to Starbucks." Oh, no, go to Starbucks, he said. I beg your pardon. Now, O'Donnell added that when is this silliness going to end? But if the store gets robbed, she'll be calling up immediately for help from the police, and that's because that's what they do. Providence Fraternal Order of Police Vice President Mike Lamonti called the behavior unacceptable. He further stated that what happened does not appear to be a reflection on the owner of Dunkin' Donuts location, but the action of a single employee. Like, that makes it okay. However, it wasn't immediately clear what, if any, action might be taken to deal with the incident, but he did say, "I tell you right now, this is not a game. We're tired of being the whipping boys. The few random acts of police officers overstepping their bounds nationally. Now, there are more incidents of police officers handling themselves in a professional manner every day," Lamonti said. "This is unacceptable because all lives matter." Now, we talked about, to an extent, with a lot of these things, Tyhe, with reference to incidents that have happened with the police and ethnic minorities, etc. And this is the latest in a series of vendors or places either refusing to serve the police or giving them some kind of attitude. Now, whilst there is clearly an issue with some officers, doesn't it need to stop with people blaming all police officers for this kind of thing?
Well, absolutely, because it gets very dangerous, doesn't it? I mean, you can't just blanket all. I mean, where does that stop? Because you're right, it's going to get very dangerous, isn't it? It's a hate crime almost, isn't it? You know, you're going to start blaming the wrong people for the wrong things, and they're right as well, because they're going to be the first people to pick up the phone and want those police officers there to save them or their family. I've never understood that when people complain about having to get out of the way when they hear a siren, and yet, they're saying, oh, they're always in the, I've got to pull over, damn, they're in the way. And yet, if they realised maybe that siren was on the way to help one of their family members, they would change their mind. So it's the same kind of thing, I think. The idea that you can blanketly, I've seen what's been going on Facebook. There are some terrifying things going on, can I say, having said all that, at the moment in the States. There are a lot of police officers that seem to be, clearly need sedating. They should not have a weapon. They should not be on the streets. We've seen some horrific things going on, but you can't then just blame every police officer. Clearly that needs to be dealt with, but no.
No, exactly. And even when people I'm not, as you probably have gathered from some of my commentary, I'm not a very big fan of the New York Mayor Bill de Blasio, and I think that quite often people look for a cue how to treat people or groups from those in power. And if the New York City Mayor, Bill de Blasio, I call him Blizzardio affectionately, of course, if he can't show respect to the police either, then what's the point? Now, I'd be the first one to admit, there have been some police officers that have overstepped the mark. But let's face it, if there were no police, I'm not excusing anyone's behavior, but if there were no police at all, things would be a lot worse. And if this is your attitude, then next time you need a cop, then call a crackhead,
Absolutely. It's the same. Although it is that strange thing, isn't it? It's the same. I remember, I think we said on the show before, a friend of mine said they were warned nowadays that if you want help, don't shout help, shout fire. Because people are much more likely to respond than you shouting help because they just don't want to get involved anymore.
For sure.
Which is a terrifying, and very, very sad state of affairs when you talk about society. But then here we are. But yes, to say that, I for one, even though I am possibly, I am one of the biggest bitches on the show, and I'm quick to attack and whatever.
Are you suggesting I'm the other?
I couldn't possibly. I could possibly comment, Xander. But put that knife down. I've got my back against the wall. But it's I have to say that the police, and as well as the armed forces as well, have my absolute respect. And I would be calling them without hesitation if I was in trouble, and they certainly get my respect before my disdain. I would have to see them behaving poorly before I would respond to that. Do you know what I mean? I would not assume that they were going to behave badly. I would have to see it. I would assume that they were going to behave well, not the other way around. So people behaving like that is no, it's not acceptable to me. I think they deserve our respect. They're out there putting their life, particularly in the States. Here they are here, but obviously, but in the States, you idiots have still got guns, for Christ's sake. It doesn't matter how many kids get murdered on a daily basis. People there still shout, "No, we want to use guns." Well, yeah, okay. I suppose there's 7 billion people in the world. We need to get rid of a few, and you seem to be happy to let that happen on an hourly basis. So yeah, go America. But you've got to, I think you've got to understand more that they're really putting their lives on the line.
But I have to say,
that demands respect.
It definitely does. I have to respond to a couple of things you said. First of all, the issue about guns, even those that are pro-guns are recognizing that there are issues and that there does need to be some changes with regards to gun control. But it's like one side of the argument wants every gun gone, which in this country under the my brain has just gone. What's it called? The
Constitution.
Constitution. Thank you for that, sir.
Okay.
Under the Constitution, there's a right to, under the Second Amendment, to bear arms. But I still question. I think that if it's a constitutional right, then you should be allowed to do it. But I don't know why someone would need an assault rifle. One squeeze of the trigger and that can release up to 12 bullets, as far as I'm aware. So I have issues with regards to that. But the others. But surely there has to be a point where people can meet in the middle. Now, with regards to cops, here's the thing for me. Now, if the cops don't have guns and the criminals do, that's a worry. Now, every time, I know lots of police officers, and every time they leave the house to go to work. They put their lives on the line, and, you know, a lot of these people have families. Now, if you do a job where every day you have to make split-second decisions, let's face it, if we're honest, Tyhe, in life we always make decisions, and we're not always right. And the thing is that when you make a split-second decision in that situation, you're not always going to get it right. Now, I'm not saying that it's okay for a police officer to kill someone, but I'm saying it's understandable that they will make mistakes because it's a really freaking hard job to do. And they do a very hard job under very difficult circumstances. But I suppose what I'm saying with all of this, Tyhe, is that I think there needs to be some balance with all of it.
Absolutely, of course, absolutely. But then you were talking, I know I listened to Obama, and I know he's not popular over there right now, well, I haven't been for a long time, but listening to other people as well, not just him talk. And the idea that, you know, there are no mental health test checks or whatever, you know, I mean, clearly, people who are psychotic can walk into a shop and buy a gun. Right now, America, listen to me carefully. If you are prepared to let that happen, it is you that are fucked up. Sorry, I've sworn, but really, it needs to be said. Because it is a really stupid, moronic, idiotic thing to do to let somebody who is mentally ill walk around with a gun. Because you know what happens? Your children get murdered. Okay? So, really, get your shit together. Or stop complaining about it and stop blaming your president, because it's your fault. It's not his, it's yours. You keep screaming about your rights and you keep screaming about the Declaration of Independence. Well, you've got independence. You've also got dead children. You know, make a choice, but shut up about it one way or the other. Here ends my rant.
But you know that is good advice, Tyhe. But here's the concern for me. As soon as this last shooting happened, President Obama used the shooting to politicize the situation. Yes, changes to be made, but you can't just say with a history that this country has with regards to the right to bear arms, we're going to take all the guns away. Now, that will only cover the legal guns, and here's the other thing. That will mean only the authorities have guns. Now, does that mean that when the president goes to events, if we take away all guns, that his aides and his security won't have guns? No, of course they will. So there's a lot of hypocrisy in all of this, Tyhe. Guns scare me to death, and mostly because I don't know how to use them. But to insist that everyone's rights needs to be taken away, i.e. their right to bear arms, without actually moderating that, and not looking for a meeting of minds, just looking for control and to politicize, that's not the answer either, surely.
No, but surely that's not what he said. Did he get on TV and say, I want to take everybody's guns away? Really?
In essence,
really?
Yes.
Right, okay. I bet he isn't. I bet that's just the way it was put across. But also...
No, I watched it myself, Tyhe, because you know I'm not going to comment on stuff unless I've actually seen it. It was a blatant attempt. He even said, some people will say that I'm politicizing this. Well, because you did, Baz, you know? And I watched it because I can't talk about it if I don't watch it. And plainly and simply, he politicized the situation. Yes, there needs to be change, but you can't come down and say we're just going to take all guns away. Clearly, there needs to be change, but not. People are going to revolt. They've been allowed for over 200 years to carry guns under the Second Amendment. Now, if you repeal that amendment and then they can't carry guns, the only people that will have the guns are criminals and the authorities. What does that spell out?
No, that's fair enough. Of course it is. But, I mean, you can't, obviously, as a politician, you're going to politicize things. But also, don't forget the show we did with Tony that terrified me, was they want to be able to kind of basically have martial law at any given moment. So if they took the right to bear arms away from everybody, of course, that would simplify it even more. So fair enough. And I'm not suggesting in a country where people love to have guns that they don't want that right taken away from them. But I wasn't suggesting that. What I am suggesting is that people really, really get their act together and sort this out. Because the idea of this anarchic idea that everybody should have a gun, you know, is absurd. Because look at it, it's not working. You know, you're burying your children. Every single day you are burying your children.
it's not actually the idea that everyone should have a gun. It's the idea that everyone that wants to have a gun can have a gun. But I definitely see the point you're making. But it's important that we do kind of put this on the table for discussion, rather than making decisions for everybody. You know, that's kind of my point. Do I want people to be killed? No, I don't want people to be killed. But by the same token, if you take away all those guns and the only ones that have got the guns are the authorities and the criminals, where does that leave us then? We won't be able to protect ourselves.
No, of course, but that's what I'm saying, though. But instead of people just shouting, "No, I want a gun, I want a gun," they need to sit down and talk about it. But they're not doing that. They're just jumping up and down, shouting, "I have a right to have a gun." Well, you do, but you also have the right to lose your children. You also have the right to lose your family members. You also have the right to lose your own life. And as long as you continue to do this jumping up and down like children, literally stamping your feet, demanding the right to hold this deadly weapon, then you're going to continue to grieve, because you are going to continue to lose loved ones, because maniacs can walk into shops and buy guns.
Absolutely.
And also, people don't know what they're doing with these things, are going in buying them. You know.
What is the beeping? I keep getting.
It's my
beeping.
phone. It's us communicating with each other. Either that, or the ship has landed and I'm about to leave.
Right. Well, give my regards to the mother when you see her. But in the last few minutes we've got before we bring Jeff on, Jeff Kristian is our guest for part 2. We both have known for some years. I want to just kind of talk very quickly about Kris Jenner, who was joined by the whole Kardashian brood, all the girls, that is, except Caitlyn, of course, for the cover of Cosmo's 50th anniversary issue. Now, when she was asked about her most embarrassing moment, Kris Jenner said her most embarrassing moment was when she was with Caitlyn, formerly Bruce, on a commercial airline in first class, and she joined the Mile High Club. She had sex in the bathroom and came out. Nobody said anything at the end of the flight. And the flight attendant got on the microphone and said, "Congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Jenner, you've just joined the Mile High Club." But I thought she would have said, you know, my most embarrassing moment was when my ex-husband became my ex-wife. But there you go. What do you make of all of this? They've even said, Tyhe, that they are America's first family. Now, I have not forgotten, you know, they've infuriated a lot of people with this statement, but I have not forgotten how they started, even if they have. And Kim Kardashian shot to fame from her mother allegedly disseminating a sex tape of her and Ray J. Now, Caitlyn wasn't happy that she wasn't that she was the only female member of the family not included in the photo. Where's it going with this Kardashians? I mean, aren't we sick to death of them yet?
I've been sick to death of them for a long time, but apparently not. Who knows how far this could go? But apparently, well, I mean, they are more important. They are more popular than the White House, aren't they? But it just seems to go on and on and on. As far as Caitlyn, who cares? Frankly, I have no interest whatsoever. The further away from Caitlyn,
it's funny that people think she's the only female of that family that didn't get involved. We might refer to her as a she. She might have breasts, but she still has a penis, doesn't she? So. Well,
she's trans.
Where do we stand on that?
So I'm not. Well, if she wants to be addressed as a she, that's fine. I'm not going to be disrespectful to the transgender community. And I know you're not. I wasn't suggesting you were. But I mean, it's just Caitlyn I've no time for. Do you know what I mean? I'm not. So transgender people listening, darlings, boys and girls, I'm not being disrespectful to you, nor is Xander. What I mean is I have no time personally for Caitlyn herself. I think she's full of crap. But because the whole idea of this, I want to give you a message, boys and girls. Yeah, what she wants to do is get another check signed. And as I've said, you know, anyway, let's not go on about Caitlyn. Let's talk about the Kardashians.
Kathy is saying in the chat room that she doesn't like Caitlyn either. But carry on.
Okay, and I'm sorry, by the way, boys and girls, I'm not in the chat room. I'm having massive problems over here. To be perfectly honest, I've forgotten my username and it won't let me in. And LastPass has crashed on me, so I can't get in the chat room. I'm sorry. I will be in next time. So apologies, but yeah. So I don't like any of them. I have no time for any of them. I said I have no time. I don't like them. I've never met them, but I couldn't care less about them, frankly. Don't wish them harm as human beings, but as far as their existence on planet Earth, I could not care less. I mean, I was reading, Kanye West has found another way of getting into the press, saying he felt discriminated against because he's heterosexual. That boy is simple, as far as I'm concerned. But so he's in good company. But they just seem to go on and on and on. But people clearly want it. So I don't know whether I don't know whether people like the show because it comforts them to know that they're not as stupid as they think they are, or whether they watch the show in some complete disbelief that these people manage to get a spoon to their mouth without aid. I have no idea. I don't know. But...
Absolutely. Well, we have to cut that to an end now, and that wasn't a Caitlyn Jenner reference. Because our guest is in the virtual green room. So I'm going to bring them on. But no, I have to point out we weren't trying to be disrespectful to the trans community. We've always supported the trans community in our personal lives and on this show. But I'm sorry we don't feel like Caitlyn is a typical example of that. But that's
Absolutely
a discussion
not, no.
for another show. So Jeff Kristian is a writer, singer, TV presenter, host of London Calling, and will soon be a movie director. Jeff's book, Where'd You Put Your Willie, is going to be hitting the silver screen. So, Jeff, if you need a fat guy with long hair who has his own chat show that can sing, give me a shout. But without further ado, let's welcome back to Xandermonium, the one, the only, Mr. Jeff Kristian. Hi, Jeff. How you doing?
Hello, boys. I'm good. How are you? All right?
We are fabulous.
Good.
Welcome back to the show. It's like a reunion, this, isn't it? It's like it used to be 25 years ago in the black cap.
Oh, stop. When I was a child, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said to Xander earlier, I said, oh, my God, I've not spoken to Jeff for about 25 years. And I just had that. I had Danny Lure in the back of my head, 25 years in the business, darling.
25 years in the business. So, Jeff, you've got a lot going on right now. People know that you're doing London Calling, and your book is going to be made into a movie. Now, let's put it out of the way. Where'd You Put Your Willie is not a statement about gay sex, is it? Tell people what Where'd You Put Your Willie actually means.
No. Well, the story is set in Soho around a drag club. And in the story, the drag club itself is the drag club in Soho. It's a very famous place. The hierarchy there is very organised. And Where'd You Put Your Willie, having been a professional drag queen myself for a couple of decades, is the question that I most get asked, particularly when I'm working with straight audiences or female-only audiences, as we do here, like ladies' nights, for example, where it's all females in the audience. And that's the question that they ask most of all: where'd you put your willie? In other words, how do you dress? How do you make from the waist down look so female in tight or skin figure-hugging costumes and such? So no, it's not a sexual reference at all. But all the same, it's fun, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's something I get asked absolutely every single day. But moving beyond. So tell us about Barry Chaddington and how you came together with him to work on this project and what you're actually doing right now.
Well, originally I met Barry Chaddington through a contact through a chap that I've been doing some work with, Bill Phillips, who's an NLP practitioner, and we did some recordings for him, and I've sort of did a little acting role within these recordings for this particular training thing that he has. And he'd met Barry on his travels because Barry lives in Portugal. He's in London occasionally, but he lives in Portugal. And he said to Bill, well, yes, I know Jeff, and I'd like to read his book because it might be that I can sort of help, with a bit of promotional PR, or perhaps direct him as to what to do with the story and how to take it further to become something more than the book. Then when he read the book, thankfully, he liked the story so much that he said he wanted to be the person to make it into a film, which was a bit of a surprise, lovely surprise.
Right.
So that's kind of where it started. But Barry's been in the business a long, long time. He owned his own production company. Ironically, a little bit of trivia for you here. He used to be the head of Elstree Studios, which is where I filmed Big Brother. Big Brother's Bits on the Side. And he's filmed with Her Serene Highness Princess Grace of Monaco at the Vatican. He did all of Paul McCartney and Wings' films for Wings and Paul McCartney through the 70s. He's filmed Colonel Gaddafi. He's done lots and lots of stuff. So he knows a lot of people in the industry. He's very clever. He's very smart. And he's a fantastic dinner guest, because the anecdotes that he's got are incredible. You wouldn't believe. You should write it all down. He should. So Barry wants to turn this into a film, which I'm delighted about. What we've got to do first is there's a certain way to put this together as well. So first of all, we need a professional screenplay written, a script. Obviously, that's not really a job for me to do, because it needs to be written by somebody that would then be known to a director. So the screenplay pulls in the director, somebody that he trusts, and then, of course, they would perhaps be people that have worked together before. And then the soundtrack, because it's a music as well, needs to be recorded beyond what it is at the moment, which is demos, and made into a proper film soundtrack, as you would hear them at cinema. And then that's the thing that pulls in the talent, which is obviously the actors. And that's how you put it all together, and that all in turn as one big package pulls in the money. So what
can't mention big packages on this show. Sorry. Go on.
Well, speaking of where to put your willy,
yeah, exactly.
So basically, what we're running, we've got several different options, and one option that we're looking at the moment is to raise the funds for the screenplay first. And so what we've done is we're trying a Kickstarter campaign. Which is a few days in now. There's still about a month or so to go. And it would be great if people could go along and have a look and see if they can show their support to it. Would be really nice. As people that know Kickstarter, it's a very well-known internet fundraising website for people to do all kinds of things, including movies. And for your having faith in the project and putting money into the project, in return, we're able to give you something, whether it's a signed book or whether it's to come and have dinner with us in central London, or you can simply just donate £1 just to show your support. And obviously, the more people that do, the more confidence that gives everybody else. And then, of course, in showing that people have confidence in the film, that then gives confidence to the director and the screenwriter and so on and so forth. So it's quite a clever way of doing it.
And you can even donate in dollars. The site is the Kickstarter project is something you can donate in dollars. Now, there's been a big trend of late to go towards kind of like self-funded projects via Kickstarter and other things like that. Jeff, why do you think that is? I
think that people are starting to take more control of their own destiny and their own careers. You know, Xander, you remember, obviously, you might not remember personally back in the 40s and 50s, but obviously that was
Shut up, Tyhe, before you start.
Yes, I can see Tyhe's smile, his wry smile from across the Atlantic. You know, back in that era, they had the studio system where basically the film stars were treated like staff and like servants, and everybody had to do exactly as they were told and such. And then, of course, later on, towards the late 60s and early 70s, that studio system broke up, and then people started to actually actors became self-employed, and producers and directors started to do things for themselves. And I think this is kind of this is like the internet version of that, whereby people are now actually starting to raise the money and produce their own projects as well. I think it's a natural progression, and it's a fabulous little site. I love it to bits, and they've got some amazing stuff on there. And the thing is, you don't need to be wealthy to become a part of a film. You can, as I said, you can basically donate £1 or £10 and become a part of that project or something that you believe in. And I think that's why people like it. It's kind of got that Facebook factor about it. It means that people can personally get involved rather than just read about things in a magazine or watch something on TV. They can actually get involved in the production from the beginning. And that's kind of what we wanted to do, to sort of, it helps raise the profile of the book and the film, and so hopefully people at least go and have a look or tell their friends about it. That would be lovely.
Absolutely. And let's throw in at this point, we are having a competition during Jeff's segment. You can call us on 347-884-9061. You can call or Skype 347-884-9061 for a chance to win a copy of Jeff's book. And the question is, which fabulous TV show, I'm not talking about Xandermonium, which fabulous TV show did Jeff previously appear on as a host? And here's a clue for you. It wasn't Small Sister. So call us now, 347-884-9061 for a free copy of Tyhe's book, or you can tweet the answer to us. Which fabulous TV show was Jeff formerly a presenter of, and it wasn't Small Sister? Oh, yes, indeed. So I'm really intrigued. What's the Battle of Soho, Jeff? And did you have to use boxing gloves to take part?
There's often boxing gloves used in Soho, Xander, I tell you. Well, Soho, for people that don't know, is right in the centre of the West End in London, in Theatreland, which is where I do my regular show, my cabaret show. And there's a campaign going on at the moment, quite a high-profile, well-known campaign, called Save Soho. People that have been getting involved are people like the actor Stephen Fry, Benedict Cumberbatch has been involved, Serena McKellen has contributed as well. And
Paul O'Grady.
Paul O'Grady, yes, of course. Several other people. There is a website you can go to if you put Save Soho. I think it's savesoho.com. And basically what these people are concerned about, as I am myself, is the gentrification of Soho. In other words, they're turning it into apartments, and they're taking away all those special lovely things, the character, the soul, if you like, of Soho, and people are fighting to try and save that. Meanwhile, there's a producer and director named Aro Corral who's making a film, a feature film for cinemas about this fight, and it's called The Battle of Soho, which is what I contributed towards as well, to try and raise awareness. And if all else fails, we obviously don't know what the end result's going to be, if we can make a difference, because it's a very political movement. But ultimately, Battle of Soho is really just recording it as it happens, and the views of the people that live there and that work there and such. Everybody from the sex industry to cabaret artists like myself, and actors and people that use the place regularly.
You can't call yourself a cabaret artist, Jeff, anymore. I'm sorry, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to call yourself cabaret. You are a performer.
Well, people, let's just say all us folks who knock about in Soho, it's kind of about us and our journey and the fight. But if you're able to support Save Soho, that would be fantastic, even if it's just a comment. And you can go to the site Save Soho. All of the information that you need will be there. And the film Battle of Soho, I think, is listed on the movie database if you want to check that out as well.
Yeah, I've actually got involved with that. I'm talking to, obviously, Samantha Chastelane is still around and everybody. And as you know, I like Jeff, I'm back. I just had to say something before we all disappear. And obviously, I worked with you guys, 25 years ago. It's longer now, isn't it? Anyway, on the cabaret circuit, and loved it. And it seems to be that they're trying to get rid of us all in London. So, and I'm still in Glasgow, actually, by the way. I'll be down before Christmas, so I shall pop over and say hi.
Right.
But it seems to be that they're trying to get rid of everybody, and I'm not really sure what's going on. There seems to be this kind of clandestine, fit that's going on. I have to say hello to Joe and Kathy in the chat room, by the way. Sorry, hello girls, because I'm not in the chat room. Hi, because I can't get in there, Jeff, at the moment, so I'm just saying hello, Joe and Kathy. Because the girls I usually have a chat with there. But anyway, hi guys, girls. Anyway, back to this. So because trying to get rid of venues as well, weren't they? Like the Black Cap and thank God the Vauxhall Tavern's been saved. But then that could bring its own problems as well, can't it? Because there's a listed building, it's more expensive to run, and it seems and going for Soho is outrageous to try and get. I mean, what is that about Soho? It's like trying to get rid of the West End. I mean, it's bizarre.
Well, I think that the London Mayor Boris Johnson, God rest his soul, what he's trying to do is to move a lot of the LGBT community out of Soho. I don't think he's going to be successful, and I think that it's a silly thing to suggest. He wanted to move everything to Vauxhall. Ironically, we're talking about the Royal Vauxhall Tavern. But I think that a lot of these LGBT venues that have been closing down, it has as much to do with the sort of the recession and such in this country as it has to do with any type of political action. I don't think anybody's going out of their way to try and close all of the gay venues down. I think it's just, part of it is to do with just general redevelopment and such. But keeping specifically to Soho, I think what's happening is a lot of the bigger companies are coming in and the smaller companies are going out, which means that the personal face of Soho is what's gradually disappearing. So suddenly Soho it starts to become more anonymous, and Soho, obviously, like the rest of London, has, uses the police force and such. But because of Soho's strength of character and history, it's always kind of policed itself. In other words, people come to Soho on their best behaviour because the people that live there and work there won't put up with anything. But now those people and the eccentrics are all leaving and moving out or being pushed out, and it's becoming anonymous, it's making Soho also become more feral, which is quite disturbing. But the other thing, if I can just add quickly, is that the irony is what they're trying to do is to make apartments for very wealthy and rich people to move into Soho. Now, these rich, wealthy people, the reason they would want to live in Soho is because of what's known as the soul of Soho. But of course, the irony is that in moving the smaller businesses out to make room for these rich people, the soul of Soho is going to lose it. So they're going to move into a dead area.
Yeah, so they're going to lose everything that they're trying to get. Yeah, of course, because that's the beauty of Soho, isn't it?
This is exactly the same as what they did with Harlem. They moved all the people that weren't as moneyed out and moved all of them with money in and turned all of the properties into lofts. And the place is totally soulless now. Jeff, we're nearly at the end. I want you to just tell people a little bit quickly about your London Calling before we finish.
Well, we, as your listeners will know, London Calling is a part of your second series of Xandermonium TV, and the new series, the second series, begins on the 23rd of October, which is a Friday night, at 7:30, I believe, is it?
U.S. time.
And so our first episode of London Calling will be broadcast within your show, Xandermonium TV, right then. So our first episode, we were delighted to get the fantastic actress June Brown, who the American audience may know is best known for playing the role of Doc Cotton in EastEnders, one of our shows. Yeah, so she's lovely, she's adorable, and she talks about her life and her career. She's interviewed by our presenter Jason Prince, and she's really, really lovely. So some really interesting stuff that you wouldn't have known about her, and some of her other movie roles, how she got the part, how she got into acting in the first place, what she thinks about, EastEnders. And there's a great piece about her interacting with the Queen and sort of overstepping the mark with the Queen and with Prince Philip, the consort, as well. So it's fascinating. I really hope I know people are going to enjoy it. It's going to be great. Yeah,
Lady Gaga wanted to take her on tour with her. She fell in love with her. Yeah, she fell in love with her on the Graham Norton show. Wanted to take her on tour with her.
Did you see that? That was just such a great... Because I mean, let's face it, June Brown is a big star, and I don't think she's that known outside of the UK. Maybe I'm wrong, apart from EastEnders fans in America and across the world. But Lady Gaga is this international superstar, and she fell in love with her on the show. And I know for a fact they call one another because Gaga has alluded to it too. So who knows? Maybe next time we can get Gaga and June Brown on the show.
She's very easy to fall in love with. Just one very, very quick thing. For people that might be interested in the Kickstarter campaign for Where'd You Put Your Willie, June Brown has agreed to read for the part of Edith, one of the characters in the Where'd You Put Your Willie film.
Fantastic.
How lovely is that?
Amazing. That's
yeah,
amazing.
she's a great actress. I absolutely love her.
We just tweeted out the link. We just tweeted the links to your Kickstarter project, Jeff, from the Madrigal Media page, and we've all kind of retweeted that too. We have come to the end of our time, sadly, but tell people where they can find you on Tinternet. Are you there, Jeff?
No, we've lost him.
Can you hear me? We've
I'm
lost
here.
Jeff, unfortunately. His call has dropped. But you can find Jeff at www.jeffkristian.com. That's www.jeffkristian.com. And we just tweeted out his Kickstarter project from the Madrigal Media Facebook page, and we just shared that too. I don't know what happened to you there, Jeff, but we are about to end now. But thank you so much for joining us today. The one, the only, the fabulous Mr. Jeff Kristian. Check him out on Facebook and Twitter and tell him that Xander and Tyhe sent you. Well, that's it for today, Tyhe. Anything you want to share with the masses before we go?
I was just thinking, I hadn't mentioned. Firstly, right, sorry, that was a very rushed. Hello, Joe and Kathy. It's really nice to see you right there, and I'm sorry I've been away for a while. I will be back again with the lovely Xander, but I want to say a proper hello there. I will be in the chat room next time. It's my fault at this end. I've forgotten my password, as I said. So hello. And, yes, there is news. I've forgotten earlier, hadn't I? Having had a lengthy conversation with my former writing partner, and farewell to Al.
I don't know what is going on today with this show, but Tyhe's call has just dropped too. Thank you, Blog Talk, once again for having such a crappy system that it keeps messing up. I don't know if Tyhe is going to get back with us, but what he was about to say that was that he's going to be... Oh, here we go. He's back. I'll bring him back on. Hello?
Hello.
You're back. I don't know what happened.
I have no idea what that was about at all. Okay. I have no idea what that was about.
I can hear you, but carry on with your thought. I was about to finish it for you, but you're back.
Okay.
So.
Well, I was just going to say, yes, that, yes, farewell to Alchemy. We'll be back in the world before the end of the year. So just to let people know, that was a weird information. If you play this back later, we've been more fun to listen to the end of this show at some point, really, won't it, under the influence of something. With that
Absolutely,
break in it.
And I was just saying thanks to Blog Talk for their usual crappy standard of audio, because it's not. I don't think it's coincidental that we lost Jeff and then we lost you.
Well,
so apologies out there for that.
I think that was a Skype connection actually at that point. Then I had to kind of dial back in. Yeah, which has never happened before, though. I have to say. But it was a bit weird. But listen, we got through a show, and I'm back, and that was really good fun, and it was lovely to be back with you all.
It was great. It was great. Definitely great to have you back. I have missed you, and so I have people out there. I know Joe and Kathy. Kathy have missed you too, and also lots of the other listeners. But it is that time now once again to say thank you for joining us today on Xandermonium. Tell people where they can join us, where they can find you, Tyhe. Oh, my brain. Where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Tyhe, which is at TYHEPAULEGAR, capital T, capital P, capital E, or alternatively, you could
any bathroom in Glasgow City Centre.
Any bathroom.
Sorry, no, go on.
Yeah, but only bring a bottle of wine. Just find me on www.tpegar.com, and it's all there, darlings, or TPEgar on Facebook.
Absolutely.
And it's all there. Yeah, and you can find Farewell to Alchemy on my Facebook and blah, 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 blah.
Thank you to everyone who's made today's show possible. Thank you. You don't have to go. Thank you to Tyhe for coming back and co-hosting. Thanks to everybody in the chat room. Thanks to Joe. Thanks to Kathy. Thanks to Jeff Kristian. Make sure you go and check out his Kickstarter project. I think
I'm going to get involved in that.
Thank you. Yes, you definitely should. Are you talking about the Battle of Soho or the other thing?
Well, I'm already involved in the Battle of Soho, but I'm going to get involved in the Kickstarter. I think I'm going to help with that. I'm feeling inspired.
For sure. And I think you would be perfect. You should play the drag queen, actually, Ty. I think that would really suit you.
I think I'm going to play the part of June Brown, and she can audition for it, and I'll play the part of her auditioning for her part.
Yes. That would be very interesting. To us. Well, it's good night from me, and it's good night from him. And we will. I will be back next week, definitely. I'm not sure what Ty's plans are, but we will keep you informed. Try and get
I'll
here a bit earlier next week, chat room people. But we do love to have you. So we will both see you very soon. And thanks for listening to Xandermonium. We love you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Life, it has been good to me this